Hi, my name's Dougal from Vanguard Scotland, and today I'm going to take some time to talk to you about my thoughts and observations on the design and management of local authority planning systems. In particular, why it is that given a large amount of government intervention in recent times, local authorities nationwide are really still failing to meet the needs and the timely needs of their customer base and those people which they serve. As good a place as any to begin is the question of what is it about planning that makes it such a hot topic, such an important topic. Done right, done well, a good planning department has a really enormous ability to do good for the local community, be it job and wealth creation, sustainable economic growth, or the ability to protect areas of particular natural beauty or particular historic significance. The current system is not doing as well as it could. I don't think you'd have to speak to many people to get firm agreement on that, especially given the aforementioned recent government intervention. The government would perhaps paint a different picture. Their performance indicators fairly positive as always. I think that the thing that I'm especially keen to lift the lid on is what precisely is it that their performance indicators are measuring. The aspects of the PIs or national indicators, NIs as they call them, that they don't make clear is the precise time that they measure on. Now, the government national indicator measures applications in the system from the point at which they're made valid through to determination. Anyone that has had interaction with the planning system will tell you that what actually matters to people involved in it is the time that the planning authority receives the application, that is to say, it lands in their lap to the time that it's determined. Now, what I've recently noticed through my investigations is that this creates, well, the government national indicators create a huge backlog at the front end. The planning department's feeling, well, if it's not going to be measured, it's surely not important. In one instance, this was exacerbated by a huge churn in applications, given that the authority I was looking at had a staggering 70% of all applications being returned to applicants as invalid. In many instances on quite minor grounds that certainly they could have worked with people to resolve, but more on that later. The other issue around targets as always is that they drive fairly erratic behaviour. Those applications that don't meet the grade and are obvious through their complexity or difficulty that they're not going to meet the PI are often neglected in favour of those that do. So what you get is a large amount of applications that meet the national indicator, which is all well and good, although we could argue that the national indicator inhibits early finishes with people falling into the trap of student syndrome. If they're going to give us 56 days to do them, we might as well take all 56 of those days. But the issue that I'm trying to flag up here is those applications that don't make the grade take far longer. If the PI indicator is shot anyway, why not just let them languish and concentrate on those ones that can still make the grade? So the impact of that is on the true end-to-end time. Again, in the instance that I looked at, minor householder planning apps were taking anywhere up to 144 days, which is a far cry from the 8-week target. So it's all in a question of measurement, and it's all in a question of how things are measured between what points. And I'd be very much in favour of teasing things out to look at a true customer view of what time applications are taking to be determined. So I'm not saying for a moment that nothing's been tried. Of course, there have been remedies that have been tested. The example that we've touched upon is indeed that national indicator 157. The difficulty, as with any target, because it is exactly that, is that counterintuitively it actually makes performance worse. As we've seen, it really takes away any impetus to finish applications as early as they can possibly done, and those ones that fall off the edge of the national indicator are left really to take as long as they take, with the focus being on the fresh blood that can make the NIs and make the targets. Pre-application advice, another hot topic, something that in terms of the raw theory of it is to be completely cherished. The thought of having good quality advice up front to make customers' interactions with a system clean and straightforward is brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and to be, as I say, cherished. The issues in practice come up around how formal the process becomes. As I say, in my example that I've seen most recently, a whole cottage industry had grown up around the formalization and the keeping of notes and files on pre-application. All well and good, you may rightly say, but the core problem with that was it became such a burdensome exercise that it actually detracted from the core work, and that is determining applications for those people that have put them in and importantly paid a fee. So I think pre-application advice absolutely critical in principle, but the practice has to be quite carefully thought out. Planning performance agreements are a really important scheme in terms of coming to arrangements with more major developers and more major developments that say, look, this development is going to test our ability to come in within the national indicators. What say we make a pact where that's put to one side and really work together to get this done as efficiently, as correctly as possible to our mutual benefit. So I think that the more this is capitalised on, the better. And the more joined up thinking between council departments that can be deployed, the better, to make PPAs a sort of one-stop shop in terms of developers dealing with the council. So given all these ideas and all these different things that have been tried in recent times, the question has to be, well, why are we still seeing failure? Why are we still seeing applications taking, for example, anywhere up to 144 days to determine? The national indicators, as we've said, are not ideal. The core issue with them at a level of principle is that they don't deal with the amazing variation that there is in all the great variety of applications. Yes, they're broken into sections, be it major, minor, and other applications. But I mean, there's a huge variety in terms of different levels of complexity, and really the NI seem to want to treat them all as one. Not something that's going to work in our experience. One of the most interesting things that I've noticed in planning is the number of open cases that planners feel it's normal to work on. Even in a time of building downturn, it seems the planning authorities I've seen are flooded with work and have and feel pressured to show progress, to be able to tell Mrs. Smith that her application has been looked at and is in hand. And this takes over from actually taking a piece of work, tackling it as one single project, and getting down to it until it's done and moving it through as throughput. It's a very similar environment that I've come to notice to those people who are engaged in multi-project environments. In fact, in essence, a planning department is a multi-project environment, whereby if you have a large number of open projects open at one time and your main interest is showing minuscule progress on all of them, you will move them all forward very slowly, and it has to be said with likely a great number of errors. If you concentrate on one at a time and just get your head down and get it done until it's complete, the quality of work will go up, and the time to do it will also quicken. In the instance I looked at recently, the de facto purpose had actually become chase the NI no matter what, cherry pick the work to pick those applications that were likely to meet the NI with ease, and control the flow of work through a very pernickety, pedantic validation process that would knock applications back if there was the slightest thing wrong with them, rather than engage with the client. So the question must be, if this is the old way, how should we begin to take steps into a new dawn? First up, with any change program, is understanding purpose. You cannot begin to get a footing in change until purpose is understood. It's the jumping off point for everything. In the instance that I've been discussing up to now, the team, and it's important that the team decide this and agree it. Purpose was decided as determining the right decision for a given development in as short a time as possible, and that was felt to be a measurable purpose that really put the needs and wants of the applicants to the fore. Second off, as we've touched on before, is eliminating bad multitasking. Really, the focus has to shift from showing progress to throughput. Throughput has to be key. How many applications are we getting in, and how many applications are we getting out is going to give you throughput. In order to do this, there's really quite a simple three-step process. Freeze, accelerate, release. Let's break that down in more detail. To freeze, what we first must be doing is getting an idea of how many open cases are out there, understand the workload, and then work that up into a list that's then strictly prioritized. In real terms, it doesn't matter how that list is prioritized, but I think most of the people I've spoken to in planning, and along with myself, agree that first in, first out is arguably the fairest way. The next stage is then to prevent any new applications becoming visible to the planning officers. Now, I understand new applications will come in, that's the nature of the beast, but what I'm talking about here is visibility. Preventing planning officers from saying, oh, that one actually looks like it will make the target with ease, or I'm bored of this one, so I'm going to pick up the next one. We're trying to stamp that out. So prevent new applications from becoming visible, and that will also allow the officers in question, their caseload, to run down to a manageable level. This leads on to acceleration. I mean, ultimately, if you have frozen well, the acceleration will happen. Applications are now being worked on in priority order. Where possible, people should be working on applications until they're complete. If there's any issue that stops you working on an application until it's complete, it's the planner's responsibility to escalate that and ask for help. We need to get out of this culture of it's a failure to go and ask for help. Blockages occur, and when they do, we need to work together to get past them. The best thing to do to agree these is to get the team together and write them up, get them on a flip chart, agree the rules, make sure everyone understands them, and importantly, make sure everyone owns them as opposed to having had them imposed on them. So third is the question of release. Only once a planner's caseload has been worked right down to a suitable level are we in a position where we can start releasing work into the flow. When we know what a suitable level is, well, you'll see their throughput, their ability to determine applications come right up as they're allowed to work on one thing at a time and do quality work. Importantly, one application is released when one is determined. So they're working on the same number of apps at a time, and the philosophy is going to be that applications will take as long as they take, but we're working on them, we're chasing them up, we're right on top of them the whole time, and only when one's complete is another added. A board such as this is a cracking way to keep a check on it, a visual check. So we've got in this fairly simple model validation, consultation, and determination. And this is a great way to keep check of where each person's applications are at any one time. As one drops off the right hand side, so one can be added to the left. Improving pre-application advice is something that's going to be crucial to any well-functioning planning department. We've talked about it previously. In principle, pre-application advice is absolutely key. It must, however, focus on the value work, and it is the job of the team to decide what aspects are really important. In our team, we looked at the advice that was being given up front, even on the telephone, and how quality advice at that stage could be worth far more than keeping very detailed notes in a filing cabinet, just in case that pre-app turned into an application further down the track. That can turn in, as I said, to a cottage industry. So it's all about quality advice right up front. The other aspect is not to be afraid to knock for six those applications that they're just never going to happen. The PVC windows in the listed building, for example's sake. In so doing, you are working for the greater customer base, that greater group of the community that need to be protected from poor development. There is occasionally a prevailing thought around the fact that the applicant is the customer. They're by no means the sole customer. So being able to stop applications entering the system if they've got no chance they're going to fly is an absolutely key aspect to the process. The question of validity, I'll remind you of the instance that we were looking at where 70% no less of applications coming in were being knocked back as invalid. So if you're dealing with 10 the first day, the next day you've got a fresh 10 and most likely the 7 from the day before that have come back in with different bits and pieces on them. It just becomes a cycle of increasing work. So here it's all about educating applicants and agents right up front so they get things as close to the way you need them. Also, there's issues around what can we do to perhaps be less picky. What can we do to work with people when something comes in that isn't just right? We had a lot of instances recently whereby the incorrect fee had been included. And what a change it made just to get set up so we could ring people and offer to take the balance over the phone there and then. No need to post things back. No need to throw a real spanner in the works in terms of delay. You may already have that. That may be something that seems straightforward. Local validation lists are a great way also to be able to alter the parameters to which you can work, to be able to work more with people making applications rather than against them. Type and frequency data, the thing to gather here. What are our most common reasons for invalid? How frequently do they happen? Gather that data, understand it, take action on the most common reason. When you fix that, the next one, the next one, the next one, and so on, and until your percentage of valid applications is going right up. No intervention is complete without designing in sustainability, without creating means by which it can sustain itself and stay the course. Really, the most critical thing is to change thinking from focusing on the NIs, the national indicators, to measures that are really important to the customers. That is to say, measures that relate to purpose. In our example, the measures were fairly simple, but what a change it made. So we're looking at true end-to-end time. So no longer the national indicator of valid to determined. We're now looking from application received to determined. So that's what the customer really experiences from them dropping their application off or emailing it or dropping it in the post box to the application determined. Throughput, as I've said, is going to be measured quite simply by number of applications coming in versus number of applications going out. And it seems rudimentary, but if you get a handle on throughput and you improve throughput, the change will be exponential. To relate back to validity of applications, the percentage of applications received valid is the thing to keep tabs on, and also, as we've said, the reasons for them failing to do so. Without understanding them, we don't know where we should be taking action. It's utterly critical that those people involved in the work own these measures and feel that these measures belong to them and are not imposed on them. I mean, the government target would be a great example of something that's imposed and that people have to stand to attention to. These measures should be up on a board in the work. It should be those people in the work who are responsible for getting the measures together. A visual measurement board meeting weekly is absolutely ideal. It doesn't have to take long. 10 minutes to 20, 25 minutes is absolutely fine. Run through what's changed. Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? If it's getting worse, where is it getting worse, and what can we do to improve it? Without measures, it's all just a stab in the dark. So make sure these things are up and coveted and looked after and owned by those people on the front line. So I hope that some of these issues that are flagged up may ring a bell. There may be some that you've taken action on already. There may be some that are new to you. Importantly, I would stress that there are authorities out there beginning to do great work, take control of their own destiny, and get their sleeves rolled up and get on with this stuff. So there's great case studies out there. There's great examples of improvement, and there's rarely been a more opportune time to get involved and get changing the system for the better. If you'd like to learn more, my name's Dougal. I can be contacted along with my colleagues at the details up on the screen. I'd be thrilled, only too thrilled, to walk you through some of these examples and discuss how it could possibly fit for you. Thanks for listening.